Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Brian
and Kirsten.
So Kirsten's back from a trip to Walt Disney World, and she's going to give us some of her thoughts and tell us how it went. I'm pretty excited to hear about this because I know you got to try some new stuff, so that's exciting. But first, let's dive into some of the exciting news that's going on in Walt Disney World this week. First thing that we have on here is that Disney has released a special service called Capture Your Moment. It's a personal photo pass session. It's going to come February 10th to Walt Disney World. If you're going to be down in the parks, this special package is going to be like a personal photo pass session. I believe it was... I just lost.
I think it was like $100.
Each session is $50.
Yeah.
And then you can book 2 back-to-back sessions for $100, and I believe each session is 40 minutes.
Well,
so
no, each session is 20 minutes.
Basically,
so
an hour for $50.
No, each session is 20 minutes for 50. If you book back-to-back, it's $100 for 40 minutes, which really isn't a bad deal, in my opinion.
Oh, no,
It's
not
really
at all.
not.
$100 for PhotoPass quality photos for 40 minutes is really not a bad
And I have
deal.
to wonder if I saw somebody doing like a test of this, because I noticed when we were in Magic Kingdom, over on the second bridge to Tomorrowland, on the right side, there's like a bunch of, or I guess it really goes to Fantasyland. It goes to that, right in between. There's all that grass and stuff. And there was a little girl with like a guy in a photo, their parents, obviously, and they had like a camera and a little flash set up. And there was a photo pass person taking the little girl's picture, like on the grass, not on the pathway. And I was kind of like, what's that?
I think this is really neat, and I think that this caters to a very specific kind of Disney fan, but I know that this is going to sell so fast that I'm like, I can't even deny how good this is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I would do
This is
it.
definitely going to be popular.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would want to see the quality of other people's pictures first, because I feel like PhotoPass pictures, like, they're fine, but they're not like portrait professional photographer Christmas picture level, I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
Yeah.
No, I think that's
they're
pretty
very
accurate.
They're very hit or miss. Like, you can sometimes get really good photos from them, but they're not trained professionals. Like you said, it's most of the time it's them getting either lucky or they're doing, like, you get someone that knows what they're doing.
Like, if I got the ones in the first half of this article, I would be happy. But, like, I don't know. One of them...
Yeah, the engagement ones look good.
I feel like that's, like, definitely mostly who this caters to. That and, like, the family pictures, I think.
Yeah, or just really vain.
It would be nice to have different options other than, like, the standard PhotoPass set.
Yeah, and they'll actually work on not getting people in the background, which I think is what most people want to avoid, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway.
So the next thing that we have up on our news is that Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser reservations will open later this year. It looks like the Star Wars Hotel is going to be open in 2021, which we kind of knew about, but that means that reservations are coming if anybody wants to or can afford to book them at this hotel.
Oh, man.
Pretty
Yeah.
excited. The first thing I noticed in this article is it says, check out this new video below for more from Anne Morrow. Do you think she's any relation to Tom Morrow?
The video that's attached is just I'm watching it now again. It's just a lot of concept art that we've already seen. And then I guess they also give some details as well about like the experience that you're supposed to have there. I really hope that it's one of those things where like they will allow guests to go to the hotel just to check it out. Like I can't imagine that it's going to be entirely secluded because they've already kind of rolled back on some of the stuff that they said they were going to do.
Like
But
what?
I don't know. I would be interested to see it. Well, like the whole it looks less all inclusive than it was supposed to originally be. Like I remember when we were first talking about this, we thought it was going to be like very strictly itinerary, kind of like a cruise package. But now it just seems like it's more of an immersive hotel than it is like your entire day is planned out around just this.
Gotcha.
Man, I don't know. I feel like if I spent multi-thousands of dollars per person to do this, I would kind of be irked if other people could just kind of come and hang out at the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the part of me that like knows I'm never going to actually be able to afford to stay here. So,
Like most people.
yeah.
How much is it going to be then? Wasn't it like $500 per person per night?
Oh, I thought it was more than that. And it's like a package deal, right? You have to do it for like 2 or 3 days, I thought it was. And I thought that was like multi-thousands of dollars.
Let me see. I
I thought that didn't include a ticket or anything.
Yeah, I think that's just for the
hotel.
for the hotel.
I mean, I would do it with Will, but I wouldn't take Eli because that's just too expensive.
So this article that I found, the first one that came up was from WDW News Today, so take this for what it's worth. It says pricing for a 2-night, 3-day stay starting at $3,300 for one person.
Yes.
Or just over $1,000 per person per day.
1,000 per person per day.
Yeah, cabins sleep up to 5 passengers, so there's the option of maxing out the cabin occupancy for a relatively cheaper price per person. A cabin with 5 passengers would cost $7,200 or roughly $1,440 per person.
I mean,
Wow.
if I'm 4 other people to go with, I could do that. 4 other people that would pay for themselves. Will doesn't count because we share money.
I don't know. I'm excited to see what comes from it, and we'll see how it does when it officially opens. I think that's going to be the big tell of how much immersion this thing's going to have going forward.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be the first person to do it, honestly, in a situation like that, because what if it's really not as great as they say it's going to be, and then you paid all that money for just like a nice hotel?
Yeah.
That's my other big worry with this too, is like I think it's going to end up being the first couple maybe months that it's open, they're not going to see the kind of reservations that they expect because it's super pricey, you're right, but you're going to get the people that like the vloggers and the bloggers that go for these experiences that are going to do it, and that's going to be what everybody waits on, just to see what it's like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is completely new. Disney hasn't done anything like this before, so it's not even like you could look at it and say, well, I know they've done this well before, so I'm okay with doing it to start with. Like, this is kind of new ground.
Yeah, and the closest thing you can compare it to is a cruise, which even that still feels like it's not exactly the same.
Right.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Part of me hopes it does really well just because I think that this kind of experience, not this kind of price point, but this kind of experience is what I would like to see. Maybe more as like a hardcore Disney fan. I just don't like that I'm priced out of it, but that's totally a first world problem here.
No, I mean, I definitely get that, and I don't even think it's so much. I mean, it's extremely expensive, yes. I think you just have to look at what kind of vacations you could do for that amount of money and realize, what else there is to do at that price point, which is a lot.
Yeah. And we've talked about that too before, is that like there comes a point where you look at the price of that and it's like, is, you know, this really the kind of money I want to spend on a Disney vacation, when for that price you could do a cruise. You could
You
go
could
other
go
places.
on one extremely nice cruise. I mean, you could do multi-week international vacations for that much, you
That's
know.
what I
As
started.
someone living in Florida, it's hard for me to like not get out of state and spend that kind of money on a vacation, you know. So
Yeah. I don't know. And that's when I started to feel guilty. Like, okay, I love Disney, but I should really be more responsible and see more of the world. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's me.
Well, speaking of things that are going to draw us back to Disney, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is set to open March 4th, and the big news of today is that FastPass Plus reservations are now available for opening day. How do you guys feel about this? Because it sounds like it's a disaster waiting to happen to me.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
bold.
mean,
I wouldn't want to be the one to ride it on the first day. It's just a skyliner waiting to happen.
I think with how Rise of Resistance's opening like week went, I think they're definitely banking on it being successful. Like they haven't had a lot of issues with that, other than the boarding group thing being like catering to the people that show up to the park early.
Well, they've been having a lot of issues. Like people have been having to like get tickets for the next day because like they're like it stopped working when they were in the middle of the ride. Like I saw one person who they tried 3 different times during the day to go on it and it broke down every single time. And then like one time they started it from like they started them in the ride from like the second half and she was like, I mean, what's the point? Like really? Like that's how they're gonna do it. So yeah, I think that they've been having a lot of trouble. Like if you give them a guaranteed boarding group, then and you don't go, then they're giving people like like tickets for the next day. Yeah.
Wow. Huh. I guess I really have missed that, because I like the only bad things that I've heard have been like the overflow boarding groups. People are getting in them and then like they're not getting called for that, which like the app tells you that you're in an overflow boarding group. But then I've also heard things like it breaks down, but then they give like a return pass for the next day kind of thing, not like tickets, but like a pass. I don't know. I've heard some of that, but I think we've definitely had worse launches than what I was reading.
Yeah.
But your stuff sounds way worse.
I think it was about to break down on us at one point. I was sitting there and it was taking longer, and then it was taking longer, and I was like, oh, we're about to have to get off this. This isn't going to work. But they finally got it. Like, and they were like, the cast members clearly had some sort of dialogue going on, because I don't know.
You could just tell.
Yes.
At one point I know one of the Kylo animatronics went into a B mode, so they've definitely got like some kind of backups for that. But
yeah.
Anywho, so Runaway Railway fast passes before we jump off of this. I think it's a good thing that we've talked about the tier 1 selection of fast passes having more options, and I think it's a good thing that they're adding this in just for that, because, you know, now you have extra tier 1 options. But I do wonder how many of the people that either like snagged a fast pass for opening weekend or like the first couple days it's open are going for a vacation, or are like locals, APs, or people that were already planning on coming in just specifically for that.
I think it's more than that.
Like,
I don't know how good this is going to be, but I don't see a whole lot of people planning a vacation around getting to do this one attraction.
Well, the first day fast passes were gone within like an hour.
Wow.
So yeah, I know it's been pretty popular in terms of like fast pass reservations, but I feel like it coming for opening day is like a very specific target. Like nobody's gonna open their thing. I mean, I don't think it's 30. No, well, yeah, actually it is. It is technically now like 30 days out from that, and looking at that on the app, like I don't really think that anybody was going in and was like, oh look, this is available, because I think they went up at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it feels very weird that they rolled it out exactly 30 days out from then, and it just, I don't know, to me it feels like they were catering to that very specific target of people that were going just for this already.
Maybe.
I don't know, but either way, it's exciting. Studios has one more ride.
Yeah.
So, Kirsten, tell us about your trip and
Lord. Okay.
all of the stuff that you did while you were down there.
I have notes. I'm gonna try to hit like the actual interesting points, because I feel like people don't want to hear about my whole actual vacation. But I'm gonna mention like toddler stuff, my reviews on new things that I hadn't done before, some disability access stuff. So Saturday, okay, I always recommend this to parents, and I recommend it even more now, renting an actual stroller like from a third party company and not renting one of Disney strollers, because those suck and they look super uncomfortable. But now going with the toddler, I mentioned it even more. And so Magic Strollers is who I rented from. And if you rent a car and you're staying in a house, you can actually go pick up your stroller from their warehouse and you get like $25 off. So that's just a tip. Because $25 is like, I don't know, 3 Ghirardelli milkshakes. Anyway, so this is...
I like the comparison there.
Hey, this is the first time we've ever stayed off property. We rented a house. It was fine. Like, it was a nice house. It was big, because at the beginning of the week, it was me and Will and Eli, and then my parents, and then my brother and his wife. So there were quite a few of us. So it was definitely way cheaper. If you're having like a big family and like you want to save money, I think that's definitely a way to go. Personally, I don't think we'll do it again, because I enjoy the Disney bubble too much. I don't like going to the parking lot and getting in the car and like having to pay for parking every morning and get on the tram and blah, blah, blah. I like the Disney bubble, but I'm glad that we tried it, and it was helpful to have space and a whole kitchen and a place to like store snacks for Eli. But then again, you can just rent DVC, and if you add on the cost of like renting a car and stuff, I think that the prices come out, more similar, and like parking, the prices are more similar than than just lodging, These are just my tips for people if anybody cares.
So, question about your staying off property and renting a house. How far away were you from Disney property? Were you fairly close?
We were close. We were like 10 minutes from Animal Kingdom. There's a neighborhood down there. I don't remember what it's called. But it's like it's basically like the most popular rental neighborhood. Like Global Resort Homes, I think that the neighborhood is basically all rental homes. I mean, there's like a gate to check in. And they ask for your like check-in information. So clearly this is standard procedure, it's not just a normal neighborhood.
Okay.
So it was close like that. It wasn't bad, I wouldn't want to be further than that, because we looked at some that were like nicer houses, because, I'm bougie. But they were further away. So I'm glad we went with the closer one at least. But yeah, 10 minutes from Animal Kingdom. So not terrible. And I didn't know that. I don't know if this is new. Probably not. Did y'all know that they had a preferred parking option?
Yep.
Okay, well, I don't know that. Is that new? Has that always been there?
Couple years.
Okay. because we did that every day because my dad. So no, none of us like to wait in line, right? But here's the thing about my dad. What do you think your typical line tolerance is? Like, how long would you wait in line for Soarin' or any ride that you really
For
like?
Soarin'?
An hour and a half would probably be my absolute top.
I think it depends on the ride, but like probably an hour and a
Yeah.
half, depending on the
For
ride.
mine, I'm probably like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, which I feel like somewhere in there is your standard line tolerance for people. There are some people who will wait 4 hours and like they don't care. My dad's tolerance is about 10 minutes. So
Your dad is at the wrong place.
that he is like, he's so impatient. That's why we took minivans everywhere our last trip, because he couldn't wait for the bus. Like, the man is insane. So we got preferred parking every day so we could be closer and we wouldn't have to wait on the trams and we could just walk. I personally don't think it was worth it. It's $45 on weekdays, $50 on weekends. That's just me, but you know, that's an option for people now. I did not know that. I think it's new from when I worked there, at least. But if you get stuck at the end of the row, it doesn't matter how close up you are. You still have to walk all the way down the end of the row, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, any more questions about the house?
Do you know where you rented from? Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't know VRBO, but I know the Global Resort Homes is who the owner of the house must go through to manage it. So I think that,
Oh wow, these are like nice houses.
yeah. But I will say that Global Resort Homes, like, they have a list of what all they provide, and so I didn't check it, which that's my own fault. But some stuff you would think would be provided isn't, like dish soap. You would think that they would have like a little bottle at least of like Dawn or
wow.
something. They don't have that. Like, laundry detergent, I can see a lot of places don't offer that. It would be nice though. So just like, who's gonna buy like a whole thing of dish soap for one trip? I mean, really? So, you know, Eli's cup got washed with bar soap. What can I say? Just little things like that. It's kind of like, really? And the towels were obviously like not that nice, but hotel towels aren't nice either. Like, so who cares? But yeah, Global Resort Homes. Oh, and check-in was at 4, and I don't know if this is common, but I was thinking like, oh, there will be a key hidden somewhere, and like we can really just kind of check in whenever we get there. It was an electronic lock, and so it literally you couldn't use the code until exactly 4 o'clock. And like, when you check out, you have to like reset the lock. And so checkout was at 10, and I hope there wasn't a fee for being late because we weren't out till 10:08. So I guess we'll know if like we get charged for that because we reset the lock late. So I think that's like, I don't know. I just wasn't expecting that, but you know.
That's kind of neat that it's like an electronic lock and you can like check in at exactly the time that you're supposed to check in, but it's really annoying that you have to reset it yourself.
Yeah. Well, and also it's annoying because literally nobody could remember the code because it was like 6 digits. So every night we're all like seeing who can get to our phone first and find like the screenshot that I took and texted to everybody, you know. Like, can we just have a key? Like, I'm old now. I'm like that old person who doesn't understand why people want newfangled things like computers. Anyway, so Saturday we got there, we rented a car, we picked up the stroller, went to visit my friend, and then we went to downtown Disney Springs. We went at Jeff Arts' Homecoming for dinner, which I've heard rave reviews of. Like, everybody loves it. Have y'all eaten there?
Hold on, just the way that you're saying
I was about to say,
like,
oh man,
you didn't have a good experience.
because I love it.
No, it was good. It was.
Oh,
Okay.
I love Homecoming.
It was good. It wasn't like, okay, so I'm not trying to get any hate for this, but we lived in South Carolina. We went to Charleston a couple times and we ate at Paula Deen's restaurant. And I'm like a fried chicken. If there's fried chicken on the menu at a Southern restaurant, that's what I'm going to get. And I liked the fried chicken better at Paula Deen's and at 50's Primetime than I did at Art Smith's Homecoming.
Oh,
But that
the
might
50s prime time, that hurt a
I
little.
know.
Oh,
It might be
jeez.
because, like, I like trashy, and that's what I grew up eating is like poor people fried chicken. I don't know, like KFC, whatever. I don't know. Like I don't have that sophisticated of a palate, I guess, but it was good. I was just thinking like it doesn't have as much flavor as 50's Primetime or Paula Deen's, and like the mashed potatoes weren't as they probably didn't have a gallon of butter in them, like Paula
That's
Deen's
the
do.
problem.
That's the problem.
So it's probably just personal preference. I did like it. Everybody else really liked their food. I don't eat biscuits, but the drop biscuits were apparently really good, and like the deviled eggs, I don't eat those either, but those were really good. So
Now the question is, did you have dessert?
No, because I was gonna get a Ghirardelli milkshake, but the line was super long, and I had a kid that needed to go to bed. So, yeah.
Because the pieces of cake that they serve there are massive.
Is it like gooey butter cake?
What was that?
Is it gooey butter cake? Is that what people like there? Because I don't like that either.
I don't remember it being like gooey butter cake. I had a chocolate cake, and there's another one called the hummingbird cake that was really good.
Oh yeah,
But Andy and I both got pieces of cake when we went there and had dessert, and we both left with half a piece of cake. Like, It was a lot.
that's always good.
Let me see if I can find a picture of them.
But yeah, I mean, it was good. I would go there again, definitely. I was just like expecting to like it better than the others, and I didn't. But I don't think that's a criticism of them. I think it's more me. That's the problem. So, and then Sunday, we went to Animal Kingdom. We had a breakfast reservation at 8 at Tusker House so that my child could meet Mickey Mouse. And he loved it. It was so cute. He's not scared of characters at all. He loves them. I don't know how I got such a character hound for a child. He just loved them all. He loved them. It was so fun. The breakfast, they say Tusker House is like one of the best breakfast buffets. I don't like breakfast food. So again, I don't really know why I'm even reviewing this, but it was really good. And they did have a lot of options, which was nice. So I basically ate like fruit, and I went to the kids' table and got some pancakes because I don't really like waffles. But everybody else, enjoyed their food, and whatever juice they have that is like their, I guess, signature thing. I don't drink juice, but everybody else loved it. So
I feel like with Disney, the character buffet breakfasts, it's like your mileage may vary depending on how much you like breakfast food, because it's all pretty standard.
And the only problem is like so I wasn't able to get us fast passes for a Flight of Passage. So the plan was for us to, we were going to use Child Swap, which I'll explain in a second. But some of us have to obviously wait in the standby line. So we were really trying to get out of there, like see all the characters, let Eli still have a good time, but still get out of there in time to get to Flight of Passage before 9 so we could get in line and maybe beat the rush. So I think that was also that kind of like colored our experience because we didn't like sit down and like relax and enjoy it like I might have on another day at another park. Or if I had a fast pass for Flight of Passage, I wouldn't have worried about it. So it was kind of like, okay, eat, take your picture, let's go. Which that's pretty expensive, to just eat, take your picture and go. But it's totally worth it to not have to wait in line and get fast passes for characters because I will never be that person. And so Flight of Passage, if you have a kid, you probably know how Child Swap works. Last time I was there, they were still handing out paper Child Swap tickets. Now it is on your Magic Band. So, basically what happens is whoever's going to wait with the child. So for Flight of Passage, my parents both stayed out with Eli, and then me and Will and my brother and his wife waited in the line. So my parents and Eli went up to the where the line, where the actual queue starts. and we're like, hey, we need a child swap. And so whoever is waiting out with a child, they give you essentially like a fast pass. It just says something about redemption. If you look at your plans on My Disney Experience. And so they have to scan their magic bands, and then they're free to go. And then you wait in the standby line, or else go through the fast pass line if you have a fast pass. So with the electronic system, I think it's easier. I think it's harder for people to cheat. But I'm going to say this because I have not found a rule against it, and nobody asked me this. So I think that it's kosher to do this. And it's kind of hard to understand, but I'll explain it as best I can. So let's say we'll just use like me and Will for an example. And let's say we want to get fast passes for Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. Well, you can't do that, right? Because they're in the same tier, right? Aren't they?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They're in the same
literally
tier,
just
but it's the
changed it.
open tier now.
Well, you can do it with honestly, like any 2 rides that you want to ride, like Frozen Ever After and Soarin', whatever, it doesn't matter. So I could get a fast pass for Tower of Terror. And when I go to use my fast pass, Will can say, I'm going to wait with Eli. And he'll get essentially a fast pass for Tower of Terror, and he'll just wait until I ride it. And then Will can have a fast pass for Rock and Roller Coaster. And then I'll wait with Eli and say like, okay, I need a child swap pass, whatever. And so then we're both essentially, you have like a quote unquote fast pass, right? So you're kind of like, you can double your options in some places. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because my mom, she just did not get it the whole week, and I kept trying to explain to her how it was. But I've heard, like, in the past with the paper ones, people are like, oh, you aren't supposed to do that, whatever. But nobody ever questioned me and was like, oh, well, you're supposed to get everybody a fast pass, because like for Rockin' and Tower, we did that. 3 of us got fast passes for Tower of Terror, and the other 3 got fast passes for Rock and Roller, and then we just switched out with Eli. So
it's kind of just like a free fast pass, but not really a fast pass.
Right. And so like, I don't know, I think it's useful. It helped, obviously. So if you can like utilize that, I definitely think it's a good thing to utilize, because the first trip I got us all fast passes for everything when I could have really spread them out a little more. But with the electronic thing, it is harder to like do any cheating or stuff like that, because you can't ride. The big thing then was like somebody could go twice if they went through the first time and then they went with the paper fast pass the second time, as long as there's still somebody out with a kid, obviously. But you can't do that anymore. So it is what it is. And yeah, so we by the time we got Flight of Passage, the line was already long as hell. So we waited for probably 90 minutes. And I did actually use the bathroom in the queue. And how it works, if you've never done it, is they get your whole party out. And they wait while you go to the bathroom. And then once you come out, they put you back in line. So it's a lot of pressure, because you're like, God, I got to hurry. These people are going to hate me. Because I just took up 4 waiting. But
I did not know that was even a possibility, and now I really wish I did.
there's a bathroom in there.
Wow.
I think it's the first queue with a bathroom. And there's a little attendant, like a cast member, who's like, does anybody need to use the restroom? Like, they're your mom. It's like, sure. But I kind of wanted to see what they did. So, I mean, I think it's definitely nice, and I hope they utilize it in future rides, especially if there is something that kids can ride. Because, like, if you have a 5-year-old and you've waited an hour and they're like, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom, like, you got to get out of line, So I think it was useful. Then we ate dinner. We went to Rafiki's Planet Watch, which I've never done before. And it was super cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Really, really. I thought it was worth it. Eli had a blast. And I love that you can watch things that are happening. But the one thing I was wondering, and maybe y'all know the answer to this, or maybe somebody listening does, is there like an online schedule of what appointments they're going to have that day? Because when we were there, we went there late. And so I knew we wouldn't see anything. but it showed like on the little TV their schedule, and it was like 3:30. Some animal had like a well visit. But I was like, well, can you look this up beforehand? Because what if there's something really cool? Like, you're not going to know about it, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I also don't know, what all like procedures and whatever they do. I do know that I've been over there probably at least 10 times in the past couple of years and have never seen anything going on in the little observation operation room thing.
The pictures that they had of procedures looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm guessing they do
Apparently
first
they
thing in the morning, since that's when most surgery.
apparently they don't post it. Sorry to interrupt you. I looked it up on the website, and there's no information, and Touring Plans doesn't have anything that would point me in any direction. So I'm gonna say no, they don't,
Well, they
which is
should
weird.
do that.
I
mean, right? Wouldn't y'all think that was like? Wouldn't you look and be like, "Oh my God, they're doing surgery on a lion. I'm totally going over there this morning."
Oh yeah, that would definitely be something that I made a special trip over there to see.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of nice that it's not very crowded too. So I guess it's a double-edged sword. Anyway, yeah, my first time there, it was cool. Oh, and since this is our first day, so I don't know if I should save this till the end or do it now. Talk about strollers, wheelchair. What do y'all think?
You can talk about it now if it's important to your trip. At this point,
Yeah.
I would probably talk about it.
I didn't get it before we started because we were waiting to go to breakfast, but afterwards I went back to guest relations, I guess midway through the day. So I've mentioned it a couple times, but for everybody listening, so Eli has an extremely rare form of dwarfism. Dwarfism actually comes with a lot more issues than people think. Like most people just think, oh, they're like a normal person, but short. But depending on the diagnosis, usually there's a lot of, like Eli had surgery when he was 2.5 months old. He'll probably have to have another one. He has I don't know, a lot of endocrine issues. And most of them have issues with their joints and muscles. Like Eli has really weak muscle tone, and low muscle strength. So he's almost 3, but he's about the size of a 1-year-old. He's 31 inches. And so his stride is way shorter because most kids his age are 37 inches tall. So 6 inches in your stride is a lot, especially when you're little. So he takes very short steps, obviously. And with the weak muscles and he just can't walk. I asked my best friend who has a kid the same age, how long does Bo play? And she said that they walk around their neighborhood and he'll walk a mile. And if he starts running, she would have to run to catch him. Eli couldn't walk a mile. He could never do it. And it would take him probably 6 hours, if he could. So he just can't handle walking through the line. And he's 25 pounds now. And so carrying him through every line all week is really bad. It sucks. He is heavy. So we got the strollers wheelchair pass so that if he didn't want to stand up, because he's always saying oh, my legs hurt. And I'm always worried, is he saying that because he's 2, or is he saying that because they really do hurt, because there's something else going on, So it eased my mind a little bit, and it's just easier for him. And we don't have to worry about killing our backs, because we carried him enough anyway that they still hurt. So we got a stroller's wheelchair pass for him. And I feel like I have to justify it, even though I really shouldn't have to, but it is what it is. So that was really nice. We used it to go on Rafiki's Planet Watch. We just backed his stroller into the wheelchair spot on the train. And it was nice once we got there because the path is really long and things like that. There's no way Eli could walk down that path and back, in the whole time the park was open, probably. So if that's something, I don't really know how common it is for people to use that. And I know there's a big difference between that and the disability access pass, which is the other thing they do. And y'all know that there was the whole hubbub several years ago where people were cheating the system, and none of the disability passes and the stroller's wheelchair. It doesn't get you to the front of the line. Like, that's not the point. So disability access pass, whatever accommodations you get really depend on your diagnosis. Like, I know there are some autistic kids who can't handle waiting in the lines. So they basically will go up and ask for return time, kind of like a fast pass. And some are way more serious than that. And like, they can't be in the heat, or like they are in like really intense wheelchairs and they have to be like, they can only ride things. Like when we talked to Chant about his son, like they can't ride everything. And so, waiting for a vehicle that has like the handicap accessibility can sometimes take longer than just getting on the ride. So it's not about skipping the line. Like we did that when we went on the safari. We went through with the stroller since we had that, and they were going to put us on like a handicapped or like the accessible, I guess, truck. And it was taking it took so long. And finally I was like, look, we have a dinner reservation. Like we can carry him. He can transfer. Can we just get on like a normal one? And they were like, sure. And they just take your stroller to the exit. And that's what they do most of the time. If you walk the stroller through the line, you go through the regular standby line, unless you have a fast pass. And then a cast member will move the stroller to the exit for you. So that's typically how it works. But anyway, that's a little spiel about that. If anybody who's listening and has any questions, feel free to let us know, because it's not very common. And I think it's something useful that people should know, because Disney really does try to be accessible. And I think they do a really good job in most cases. Anyway.
It's good to hear that they're very accommodating with that.
Yeah, I honestly felt guilty because whenever I asked, like, hey, can you get my son a stroller's wheelchair pass? I was expecting for her to like ask me questions, and they can't ask like, what's wrong with you. But like I was expecting more than just like, sure, and so I don't know. I think that really depends on the cast member you get, but it really wasn't a difficult. And they just asked like, okay, well, how long are you going to be here? So the pass has like an end date on it, and you just like hook it onto the stroller. It's like a little red, it's like a baggage tag that you put on your bag at the airport, basically. And you just have to put it in a visible place, because every cast member at the front of every entrance is like, stroller parking. And I'm like, no, we have this. That makes me feel guilty, and I was really worried beforehand, like, because I've gotten comments on Eli before. He's getting to that age where people can tell like that there's clearly something different, because he talks like a 4-year-old, but he looks like a 1-year-old. And so I was really worried that people are going to be like, look at that kid. That kid looks fine to me. That kid doesn't need a stroller, but luckily nobody said anything that I heard anyway.
I feel like in all like places, Disney is probably the least likely for that.
Employees, yeah, but like I've heard stories just from when I worked there, and like my friend who's a character attendant, of like families getting mad because the only people that I know of who get like strict front of the line access are like Make-A-Wish kids. And I've heard, families complaining about that. Like, why does that kid get to go first? And it's like, really, you can go first if your kid has cancer. Like, I mean,
right.
It's really terrible sometimes, but all the employees and everything were great. So, and guests too. We didn't have anything happen, but it was something that I kind of worried about the whole time. Anyway, we ate dinner at Sanaa. I've eaten there a lot. It's so good. I highly recommend it to everybody. That's really all there is to say about that. The bread service is totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have eaten there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Sanaa.
That's where I discovered my love of butter chicken. That's what I get. I get like you get the 2 options and rice. I'm like, can I just have both options as butter chicken? And yeah, we didn't see Rivers of Light, so.
Not missing much.
Agreed.
So my friend Allie, who I've talked about before, she's still a character attendant, like seasonally. And she lives down there. She has a friend who is now working in the Finding Nemo show. So we wanted to take.
Oh, I saw the pictures of this, and I'm so jealous. I have to say that right now.
Yeah. So Eli fell asleep, so we didn't take him into the show, because that's another thing I'll talk about with toddlers is like, We don't push him. But Allie watched it, and I met her afterwards, and we went backstage and took a picture with the whole cast, which is really fun. And I felt bad because I didn't get to see the show. And like one of the guys, I think it was the guy who plays Mr. Ray, he's like, "Did you even have fun?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, sure.
He had a good nap.
But that was really cool. So yeah, that was a magical moment. I do like that show a lot. I feel like it gets overshadowed because Festival of the Lion King is just so good, but it's a good show too. I think it's really innovative.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. I was like, no, that's so awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. Monday, we went to Universal. So the big thing there, I guess, is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. And that was amazing. It was so good. I love that ride. Like, it was so good. I want to ride it again. Like, it was amazing. I was very impressed. Yeah, have y'all ridden that? I haven't been to Universal since 2011.
It's been longer than that for me.
Yeah, we didn't do the Gringotts Escape from Gringotts, so I can't say anything about that. But like this was I had never been on the train. That wasn't there the last time I went, and I had never been to Diagon Alley. Oh my God, it's amazing. Like, the train is cool or whatever, but like once you get to the other park, the studio side, once you get to, because we started in the Islands of Adventure side. So once you get to the studio side and you leave like platform 9 3/4 and you're like in London. And so you're at this big street that's just in the park, and there's like the night bus, and then there's like a giant pond, kind of like World Showcase. And on the other side of the pond is like the other parts of Universal Studios, like the Simpsons area or whatever. And I was thinking like, oh my God, this is terrible show. Like, you have like, you're supposed to be in London and you can see this hideous Simpsons crap, like, ugh. But then we couldn't find Escape from Gringotts. So I asked him, like, where is it? And he's like, oh, you go kind of right behind that little door. And so you go back behind there, and it's like the entrance is totally hidden. I mean, just like it would be to get into Diagon Alley. It was crazy. And then you walk in and you're just like in another world. Like, oh my God. It was so good. It felt just like you were in the movie. Like, I can't even, like, we all walked back there and we were like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. Like, I loved it.
Yeah. Universal does a really good job with that. Like, it's weird. Like you said, that there's a part of that park where it feels like bad show, knowing from like a Disney standpoint that, stuff like that wouldn't fly. But then even taking the train from one part to the other, it's so seamless, and the world that you're in, you just get so wrapped up in it. I think of all of them, Hogsmeade is like a little bit better than the other section of the park, I think.
Then
not Hogsmeade. Diagon Alley is a little bit better than Hogsmeade. But other than that, it's a good thing. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
They definitely took what they learned from Hogsmeade and like applied it to Diagon Alley. Like, I think honestly that's maybe what made Disney step up its game. Be like, oh wow, like, they're real competition, because that up to that point, I mean, I think that's better than anything Disney's done.
Yeah,
like that.
I agree with that.
Like, I mean, I feel like a traitor for saying that, but it was so good. Anyway. Oh, and I'll talk about, so Universal Child Swap is different from Disney's, and it kind of sucks because how it works is that we had to wait in line for Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. My dad was like gonna die because we waited for a while. I don't know, probably an hour or more, a little more. And so the kid has to go with you through the whole line. So Eli had to go with us for the whole hour. And then once you get to the entrance and you're like, hey, we have a kid, whoever's staying out, they get this little paper. It looks like a receipt that's crinkled and been used a billion times. And they have this family room. So whoever's waiting, so like for that one, me and Will, went into the family room with Eli while my parents, my brother and his wife rode the ride. And then when they exit, they're like, hey, where's the child swap room? And so then you like trade out there so they can go ahead and leave with Eli and we can ride. But taking a kid through the whole line, like, y'all, I have been blessed with a child that is so happy. Like, he didn't cry once the entire week. He's just a happy kid. I mean, we're so lucky. But other kids, like, that would not fly. There's no way they could do that. Like, no way. They would be melting down. So I really don't think that's a great system. But, you know, there you go. If you're curious, that's how they do it.
That sounds super inefficient compared to.
It was. And I'm going to be honest. You can definitely cheat it easier. Like for Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, my parents and my brother and Katie came to get us in the room. And then my brother and Katie definitely came back on us with the ride the second time. Because my brother was like, I'm going to ride that again. So, yeah, that is more cheatable. That's a word. Than Disney system. And yeah, I mean, we did all the typical things at Universal, whatever. I was really not impressed with the King Kong ride. I was pretty pissed. I waited for like 40 minutes for that. It was not worth it. I don't know. Oh, and I will say, so we went to the Dr. Seuss part because, you know, we have a kid and it was so cute. They had this little show with all the characters and Eli was really excited, even though he doesn't really know many of those characters. And the character attendant, my mom was sitting up there in the front with him because, you know, I don't like characters. And the character attendant came up and was like, he's so cute. He's having such a good time. Like, can he go backstage and do like a meet and greet all by himself with all the characters? And we were like, definitely. So that was just like a magical moment that I feel like because of how crowded Disney is now, that wouldn't happen there, you know? So that was really sweet.
Yeah.
We had a blast. Like after everybody else had taken their pictures and the characters left, they were like, okay, come on. So we all got to go like backstage and like they all met Eli and he was super excited. If y'all want to see, I have stories of it on my highlights. My Instagram is Miss K McDonald. Yeah, it was fun. Even though, and I'll tell you, so Thing 2 came up to me. I was like taking pictures and videoing Eli or whatever. And Thing 2 came up and like reached out to hug me. And I was like, and I just go, oh God, okay. And I like let them hug me and I could hear the person in there laugh. So that was interesting. But yeah. We ate dinner at Toothsome Chocolate Emporium because they have freak shakes. And it was really cool. I feel like freak shakes are one of those things where like you just get it for the gram, but it was really good. And the food was very good too. So yeah, I would eat there again, but that's because I'm
I've heard really good things about Toothsome.
Yeah. And they did have some character people. Like they had a woman who's like the owner and then she had like a robot, but Eli surprisingly was scared of the robot. So they did not come to our table because he was freaking out. Tuesday is the day, y'all. Me and my dad and Will and my brother and Katie, his wife, got up at 5 a.m. and we left the house by about 6:15. I think I'm going to put the stories that I did in a highlight on the podcast Instagram. And I promised more on the Instagram, and I haven't yet because I don't think about it till I'm in bed and I don't have makeup on. But I'm going to try to do it tomorrow to talk about spoilers because I don't want to do spoilers on this unless y'all want me to. We can let.
I mean, I've seen the video, but I think Brian was avoiding spoilers, right?
Anyway, we got up at 5 a.m. We left by about 6:15. We were probably in the park by 6:40. So we got there in plenty of time, and it really is about who is fastest on the phone. Like, it doesn't matter if you walk in the gate at 6:30 or 6:55, which is that right? Like, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. But that's how it is. And so I spent probably an hour and a half the night before getting everybody my Disney experience accounts, because like my parents obviously didn't have one. My brother and his wife didn't have one. So I got everybody accounts, and I got us all linked together so we could all, and I double checked to make sure, okay, everybody's tickets are linked. We can all see each other's fast passes and each other's plans, and we can make plans for each other. And I feel like that's really important if you have a group, to make sure that's done in plenty of time, because it did take a long time. It's kind of a pain in the butt when you have that many people. And so I think we had one person trying on Wi-Fi, and everybody else was on their data, because the Wi-Fi does get bogged down. So I would get on your data. I'm actually the one who ended up getting the group 12. So go me. But basically, we just were all holding our phones, and like we had it on the opening screen of My Disney Experience. We didn't have where you click find more information, because I'd heard varying things. I'd heard you should have it on the home page and then click like find, get more info, or join boarding group or whatever. And then I'd heard some people say like you should open that and then just like refresh it at 7 a.m. The refreshing it did not work for anybody who tried it. So I was on the home page, and wherever it says like find out more, or I don't know exactly the terminology, but don't start on the page where you get boarding group. Start on the home page and then click from there. And then I made sure I selected everybody correctly, because it knows if you're in the park or not. So I had to make sure I unselected my mom, I unselected Eli. And then you click like, get boarding group or whatever. And we're all trying it. I don't know if anybody else has ever actually worked. I think Will's did eventually, but once I had the boarding group, it cut him off, and it wouldn't let him actually go through with it. But I think everybody else was still just kind of waiting and refreshing. So I feel like we were really lucky. So we got group 12, and we kept watching because it was 7. So I was wondering like, okay, when are they going to start calling people? And they've now changed it where some boarding groups have an hour to come back and some boarding groups have 2 hours to come back. It used to be every boarding group had 2 hours. So definitely check on that if you're going to try it. I kept looking, and we didn't get called until 8:54, which I felt like was pretty late for the park to open at 7. I don't know what time it typically starts, but anyway, yeah. Then we went on it. I won't say anything. I'll do a
general impressions though, like spoiler-free general impressions.
It's really hard, and I'll just kind of say what I said in the group. I am a thrill ride junkie at heart. I love thrill rides. If I could get out of bed and feel that drop feeling of Tower of Terror every single morning, I would be so happy. Like, I love roller coasters. I love being fast. I love that. And this is definitely more about immersion, which is great. And I love it. And I think they did an amazing job. But if I had to choose, like, okay, would I rather ride strictly the ride this or ride Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure? I would take Hagrid's. I think I'm probably the only person in my group with that opinion, but even my dad, he really liked it, but I felt like his reviews of Flight of Passage last year when he first did it were more glowing. So, it is what it is. Like, it's an amazing ride, and the fact that it's 18 minutes and it's like this huge experience is so cool, and there's nothing else like it. And like, I commend Disney. I think it's great. I hope they do more of it. I just hope, I would be happy if they did more of it with more thrilling stuff.
So vague question for you. I know when they, like, we kind of had this conversation when I watched the videos of the ride through, but I want to get it from someone that's actually been on the ride. When they were like putting this out there with everything, they kept saying that it was going to be one of the longest rides that Disney's got and all this and that, but the actual ride vehicle time itself is fairly short. Would you say that like the queue itself is part of the experience? Because that's kind of the vibe that I got from just watching the ride through.
Not so much the queue. And, it's hard to tell now, like, since you're going through, and once they call your boarding group, you're not waiting a long time at all. Like, it was very fast. But I think the pre-show, I think it's hard to just describe it as a pre-show, because it really is part of the experience. But what you would typically consider the pre-show takes up a lot of the time. But again, it's not really it's definitely involved.
Well, I guess the better way of phrasing what I was thinking is the actual attraction itself starts long before you actually get in the ride vehicle.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's fair then.
Okay. Anything else? Toy Story Land, I didn't get to ride Slinky Dog. I went through the new Toy Story Mania queue. It was cute. I don't know if y'all have done that.
Yeah, I like the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eli was literally obsessed with Mr. Potato Head, and he was really sad in that room. He was staring at him the whole time. And yeah, that was fun. And then so this is one thing that I was really sad about. I posted about it on my Instagram. But I thought that the way they handled it was really cute. So Eli, when he was last measured in October, he was like 31 inches exactly. And it took him probably 10 months to grow from 30 inches to 31. So last I checked, he was like a little over 31, but that wasn't an official measurement. He was like 31 and a third. And so I knew the lowest height requirement they have at Disney is 32 inches. And Alien Swirling Saucers was 32 inches. So I went because I was like, maybe with his shoes on, like, you know, he's grown more than I thought. And he'll make it. He was not tall enough. And I was very upset, not because I care about riding Alien Swirling Saucers. It's just like one of those things when you have a kid that's not typical. Like certain things just get to you. And the cast member who measured him was actually on a college program, and she was an Aggie. So I was like, I'd already been like, oh, I'm an Aggie. Like I did a college program. So I don't know if they do this for everyone or if she just liked me. And I had also, when she measured, she was like, not quite. And I was like, oh, and I explained like, okay, well, he has dwarfism. So, you know, I didn't think he would be tall enough, but I wanted to check because he's way older than typical kids who can ride this ride. And so she gave us like a little fast pass for our next visit. It doesn't look like a normal fast pass used to, but it was just like on one side it said like fast pass for Alien Swirling Saucers, and the other side it said like you have been chosen by the aliens, you know, whatever, to ride. And then it had like I was tall enough to ride Alien Swirling Saucer. Like it was really cute. I don't know if that's the thing they do on other rides that have requirements, or if it's just because that's a new park, or I don't know why. But I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was really sweet.
That's nice that they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Lord knows we probably won't still have that fast pass. I won't be able to find it next time, but it's a sweet gesture. Anyway, then in the afternoon we went to the Abracadabra. Me and Will and Eric, my brother, and Katie, and my parent. Oh no, Eli was sleeping. He was in the stroller in the bar, so that's who we are. And he was taking a nap, and that's really fun. If you haven't been, we had a great bartender, and it wasn't crowded, and so I learned some cool stuff, which I posted on the stories of the podcast, and I'll add those to the highlights too. Just some cute little fun facts that we were learning about the place. I love the boardwalk area. I think it's great. It's my favorite to just hang out. It's so relaxing, especially when it's not crowded and it's not too hot. So if you haven't been to the Abracadabra, I think it's definitely worth a visit. And then we had dinner at Yachtsman Steakhouse for my brother's birthday. I've never eaten there before. Have y'all?
No.
I have not, but I've heard a lot of really good things about Yachtsman.
It was so good. Yes. So it was amazing. I mean, it's steak, you know, so that's what y'all got. Yeah, I haven't been to Le Cellier in so long. I've heard people say now Yachtsman is better than Le Cellier. I can't speak to that because it's been too long to compare, but I would definitely go there again. In a heartbeat. What else was I going to say about it? Something, but I don't remember. Okay. There is, so I didn't realize before, you know, a few restaurants in Disney do have dress codes, and Yachtsman Steakhouse is one. I don't know how enforced it is because Katie definitely had on a pair of jeans that had a hole in them, and they still let her in, but just a heads up, like you probably don't want to show up in like, I don't know, Nike shorts and a t-shirt, because there is a dress code on the website. I didn't realize that was one of them. I thought it was just like Citrico's, Victoria and Albert's, but Yachtsman is included in that.
So from just looking at their website, because I actually feel like I looked this up pretty recently. Apparently it's a minimum dress code compared to like obviously Victoria and Albert's. You have to wear a suit. The dress code for men is khaki slacks or dress shorts and a collared shirt. Jeans may be worn if in good condition. Sports coats are optional. Women must wear capri pants, skirts, dresses, dress shorts. Jeans may be worn if in good condition. So maybe they just weren't like. I've heard they're not super strict about it, but obviously like no hats, no flip flops, and
Yeah. And we went during a cold time of the year. So we basically all had on jeans, and I think I had on like a little sweater, so it wasn't like we were going in July where you would typically wear like shorts and flip flops and a tank top. So that probably helped that we were prepared automatically. But yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Wednesday, it was kind of our rest day. And that's one thing I'll say about toddlers is like I set up to have a rest day. I left time in the schedule every day if we needed to go back to the house and let Eli take a nap. Like I said, I got blessed with the happiest child in the world. So he would literally just say like, I'm sleepy. I want to lay down. And we would lay his stroller back and like give him his pacifier and cover him up with his blanket. And he would just take a nap for like an hour and a half. So he was great. It's not always that easy, but I definitely think following your kids' cues is more important because I remember just from working there, like you see so many families that are unhappy and it's like the parents spent so much money and they want to try to get their money's worth. So they want to stay all day and like the kids are so tired and they're miserable and they don't care about the fireworks. They just want to go to sleep. Like it's not worth it. Like everybody will have a better trip. Yeah. You might not get to cram every single thing in, but like the experience is so much better if you just let your kid rest when they need to rest. So I left Wednesday as a rest day. And since I bought my tickets on Undercover Tourist, we were able to add a fifth day for like $4 or something. So I went ahead and added the day in case we wanted to go to the parks. And since Eli was so good, we did end up going to the parks. After we dropped my brother and his wife off at the airport, we went to Epcot. And it was really not crowded at all. So we basically did everything at Epcot. Festival of the Arts, this was my first time. I definitely think it's my favorite festival.
She's joined the fold, Brian.
I see that.
Food and wine, like I'm so picky. It's like, why am I standing in line to spend $7 on something I'm not going to like anyway? I wish I'd gotten to go during the day. We didn't ever get to go during the day, so I didn't get to see the chalk art or do the mural. But seeing all the art was amazing. We bought some art, not Disney related, but just art. And yeah, it was awesome. I love, big fan, Festival of the Arts. Yay. And we did actually stay. This is the only night Eli made it to stay for the fireworks show. We did watch Epcot Forever. And I have to take back all the crap I talked about the kites.
See? Aren't the kites awesome?
They did look really cool. And Eli was like, it's a kite.
And there it was. That was it.
What?
I said, and there it was. That was it.
Yeah.
You had to take everything back as soon as you called it. He said, that's a kite.
Yeah. I couldn't see the actual jet skis because we had gotten a fast pass and we were sitting further back. But it looked really cool. And it did get me like all the Walt quotes that they use, like about Epcot, and God, makes me want to cry a little bit. Like, I miss that guy. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I was happy with it. I loved Illuminations, but it leaving didn't break me like Wishes leaving did. So yeah, I'm a fan of Epcot Forever. I would watch it again. Let's see. Thursday, typical your Magic Kingdom day. We ended up getting really good seats for the parade, and Eli was like freaking out. He doesn't really watch other movies yet. He doesn't have the patience for it, which I'm glad, because he's not glued to an iPad all the time. He doesn't even know what an iPad is. But he so he doesn't care about any of the princesses or like really the Lion King or anything like that. But Mickey and Minnie and like Daisy and Donald and Goofy and Pluto are where it's at. So the end of the parade, when it's like all of them on the last, or, you know, coming in the last float or two, like I remember they came around the corner and and he goes, "Oh my God, it's everybody." Like,
It's so cute.
yeah. So definitely worth, like, it's so cheesy. And I definitely feel like I should make fun of myself, but like experiencing all of it through his eyes is just like so fun because he's at that age where it is real. Like, that is Mickey Mouse. That is a castle. He is flying on a boat above London. Like, it's there. It's happening. And so it was just so fun to watch. Like, and I love Disney when other people are having fun too. Like, I have fun no matter what, but when I go with other people and I can make sure they're having a good time, that's what I love about it. And so this was just like times 10 since it's my kid. So yeah. And then we went and met Mickey again, which, y'all, who am I? I hate meeting characters. I met so many characters. I met more characters that week than I have ever in the history of my life. Like, oh, we did do the Dumbo play area, which I don't know if, I'm guessing y'all have never done that. Have y'all ever done the Dumbo play area?
I have not been in it. I have seen other people enjoying it while I waited in line.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, same.
I did have to get onto a kick because, like, once again, Eli's really small, so he can't do everything in there. Like, he can't go in the big play area. He can't reach a lot of stuff. So there's like one slide that he could use, but he's too old for the baby section because he's not a baby, you know? And so I wasn't going to put him in there with a bunch of like little 1-year-olds because that's not the stuff that stimulates him. So there's one slide, and then they had this big box that had like fake fireworks in it, and you pulled these 2 strings, like Toy Story Mania, and it would make them light up and like make a bunch of noise or whatever. And so it had 2 strings, and that's one thing that he could reach. And so he was having a blast, like pulling on these firework chains, and he would go back from like one string to the other string, blah, blah, blah. So then this other kid comes over, this big kid who's probably like 6, and takes the other string and starts pulling on it. And then Eli let go, and he grabbed the other one, and he's like pulling both of them, and Eli's now just standing there. And so finally I was like, do you want to share? And then he shared with Eli, and then he left quickly. So that's the break, kid. Like, anyway, my parents took Eli back so that we could stay for fireworks. I know that I say this all the time. I miss Wishes so much. I seriously was watching it and I was starting to cry, not because Happily Ever After it was moving me, but because I was sitting there thinking, I miss Wishes so much. Like, it literally breaks my heart. I just cannot appreciate how objectively good or bad Happily Ever After is because I miss Wishes so much. Like, I could probably cry right now thinking about it. But that's all I felt like. And I feel like it's just totally changed how I do Disney, because when we used to go, that was like the highlight, right? Like, every day, go and you do everything, and then you get to see Wishes, and it's the best part of your day. And now, like, the next night I was like, oh, we can leave. I don't care if I see this. Like, and that's so sad to me. Like, I know that things change and you have to just accept that, but God, I miss Wishes.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I like Happily Ever After, but I think the thing that it's missing that Wishes had was that you have to see Happily Ever After from the front of the castle. Like, Wishes, I could go on Peter Pan's flight and like walk on and then get off, and Wishes would be happening and I could just stop and see it. Mm-hmm. Or I could be like anywhere in the park and Wishes could be happening and I could just see it. And it was kind of like, the thing with Wishes was it almost felt like time stopped because everything in the park was Wishes. Now it's like, if you're not on Main Street, you don't see the front side of the castle, you're missing like probably 90% of Happily Ever After.
Yeah. Well, and like, now I mean, Happily Ever After, I feel like is more of a tribute to like Disney movies and like their history, and like because there are parts in there from less well known stuff like Hunchback of Notre Dame and all that. But Wishes was just so much about like, I don't know, like it's so cheesy, like your dreams coming true, and like just I don't know. I feel like the message was so much more like internal with Wishes.
Yeah, I can see that. Wishes had more of a plot.
Yeah, and it's about like you, and you can watch it and be like, oh my gosh, like I can do anything. God, I sound like an idiot. Like, and Happily Ever After is like, oh, Frozen, I love that. Oh, Toy Story, I love that. Like, but it's not like about like you looking inside yourself and feeling like super just happy. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I know I say this too much and I should just stop talking about it, but I can't. I really was like tearing up because I missed it so much. Like, so pathetic, y'all. That is pathetic. Anyway, yeah, Friday we did Magic Kingdom and Epcot again. Pretty standard. The rest of my toddler tips. Yeah, prepare to go back and take naps. Rent an actual stroller, because then if they'll take a nap in it, like that's an option. Whereas the Disney stroller, they look so uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to take a nap in that. Don't try to overdo it. Snacks. We did use snacks in line, and they're way cheaper than buying snacks from Disney, especially if your kid, you're not sure if they're going to eat or not. It's like, well, I just spent $6 on this macaroni, so I guess I'll throw it away. Small toys for waiting. Like I'm a screen-free parent. Eli does not ever look at things on my phone unless he's having blood work done. And then we watch If I Could Turn Back Time music video.
Of course.
There it is.
He doesn't have an iPad, like nothing like that. So we would take like, I don't know, a little car or something for him to play with in line. And that definitely helped. I didn't think we would need them, but we did use them more than I thought we would. So that was fun. And we had new toys that were plain toys also. So that helped to have something new and exciting. And then don't forget like cups, and like comfort items. So we took his blanket and his pacifier every day so that he could take a nap. And I don't think he would have done as well without that stuff, just because he's little and like he's used to sleeping with that stuff. And like cups and silverware, things like that we had his cup full of water all the time so that he could be hydrated, especially important in the summer, because if you have cups that like don't spill. I don't have kids, but you have like spill proof cups for toddlers, and it's way better. So stuff like that, it's just important to take, just to make it easier on them. We didn't take a change of clothes, but some people do. And they do have baby care centers. Baby care centers are amazing. There's one in every park. Magic Kingdom's is by Crystal Palace. Epcot's is by is in the old like Odyssey building. I've never been to the other two, so I'm not sure where they are, but you can buy stuff there. Like you can buy clothes if your kid, gets really messy, or you can buy, like we bought more pull-ups there instead of going to CVS or whatever at the end of the day. They have like nursing rooms. They have TVs on with Disney movies playing. I guess if your kid's just really irritated and you want them to go chill out there. So that's definitely something to take advantage of. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully this wasn't too boring for people who don't have kids, but.
I mean, I don't have kids, and I had fun listening to you talk about the trip.
Yeah.
So.
I think a lot of it was important, or like, good tips, even if you don't have kids.
Yeah. So before we wrap up for this week, top 3, top 5 things that you did this week, what would you say?
Definitely, I would say Rise of the Resistance, just the whole experience of it. It was really fun, like to get up early and go do this crazy thing, especially with my family. It kind of reminded me of when my dad took me at midnight. We were in Yellowstone to get this 6th Harry Potter book at this tiny, tiny bookstore in West Yellowstone. It was kind of like that, that's kind of how it felt. So that was fun, just the whole experience of it. Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. That is a really freaking good ride. And I guess just watching my kid like have a blast meeting all these characters that he sees every day, you know, that was the best. Just watching him have a good time. God, I'm so lame. The end.
It sounds like you had a good week, and I'm happy that your trip report was positives.
Yeah. I feel like I'm super negative. I feel like I'm definitely probably the most negative one on this podcast. And I don't try to be. I feel like it's how you fight with your family members because you love them and they love you unconditionally. Like, I love Disney so much, and I don't like a lot of the things that the company is doing and like the directions they're going in. But it truly is like, when I'm there, I don't worry about anything. Like Will's mom used to say that when you go on a vacation somewhere else, like your body comes home relaxed, but your mind does not. But when you go to Disney World, like your body comes home exhausted, but your mind comes home relaxed. Like, and that's so true. I just feel like, especially now with Eli, I worry like so much just about all of his healthcare stuff. Like every day, it just never ends. And like when I'm there, I'm just happy and I don't think about anything else. And that's really, I think, what Walt's, goal was, and he accomplished it, and it's still being accomplished no matter what fireworks show gets canceled, or how much money that makes. Like, it's still true. Like when you walk in the door, you just don't have to think about anything else besides just like being happy. God, again, I'm so lame.
That was a good way to put that.
Really?
That was a really, yeah. Then that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Station 71 podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast from. If you want to find out more information about us, you can find us online at all of our social medias at www.station71podcast.com. We hope you enjoyed your ride, and we'll see you real soon.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.